Coming up on the 5th season, we'll explain what makes the Southern Plains so active during the spring months.
The Sky 17 weather team will talk about how new technology will help us better track all of severe weather events, such as tornadoes and hail.
When severe weather threatens, you need to be prepared. We'll show you the ways you can protect yourself and tell you the different avenues you can learn all about your severe weather warnings.
All of this and how tornadoes, hail, and lightning form. The 5th season starts right now.
Get ready for the award-winning Severe Weather Show, the 5th season from Skywarn 7 Weather. The 5th season is brought to you by Lockwood & Sons.
When severe weather looms, you can count on the Skywarn 7 weather team to keep you updated from start to finish. We have a wide variety of tools at our disposal to help us forecast and track severe weather. Forecasting for severe weather begins days in advance as we look for specific weather patterns that may trigger thunderstorms across Texoma. We also begin to inform you, the viewer, by showing severe weather outlooks from the Storm Prediction Center, getting the word out on television, our website, or through social media, and bringing you updates on watches and warnings issued by the National Weather Service. The question then becomes, what ingredients are we looking for in the hours or days prior to severe weather? We need several ingredients to come together to create severe weather here across the Southern Plains. One of those ingredients is the jet stream. The jet stream is a fast river of air high up in our atmosphere, and it separates warm air to the southeast from cold air off to the northwest. The second ingredient is moisture. Where does the moisture come from? The Gulf of Mexico. This moisture rides up to the northwest into the storm system. Now, when moisture combines with daytime heating, we get something that's called instability. When the instability is enough, we get thunderstorms to form, and they can form along the dry line or the cold front. Sometimes these storms become severe, and sometimes we even see tornadoes across Texoma. With more information on how tornadoes are formed, here's Skywarn 7 Chief Meteorologist Justin Rudisell.
Across the United States, we average over 1,300 tornadoes per year, many of them being across Oklahoma and Texas, the heart of Tornado Alley.
As Matt showed, all those storm ingredients come together right here across the Southern Plains. We have warm Gulf of Mexico moisture coming in from the south. We're several thousand feet up. We have cool, dry air, and those differences of direction create what we call horizontal tube of air down towards the surface. Now, as a thunderstorm moves over that rotating air, it'll actually take this horizontal rotation and become vertically within the actual thunderstorm. Now, as that thunderstorm continues to strengthen, it can actually lower the cloud base down below the actual storm, and this is what we would call a wall cloud. Now, as that wall cloud rotates and continues to strengthen, this is where the actual tornado would form out of the thunderstorm. Now, a definition of a tornado is a violently rotating column of air extending from the cloud down towards the ground. Its path can only be a few feet wide to nearly a mile wide. They can also last for a second or continue for over an hour. Tornadoes can be in many different shapes, colors, or sizes, but the only way to know its strength is to actually study its damage. Here is Skywarn 7 meteorologist Joe Belanger to explain how meteorologists and engineers have created a scale that determine tornado wind speeds.
The enhanced Fujita scale is what we use to rate a tornado's strength. This isn't done until after the fact, when the amount of damage can be assessed. Tornadoes can range from an EF0 up to an EF5, so let's take a look at examples of each, starting with an EF0. EF0 tornadoes typically have wind speeds between 65 and 85 miles an hour. Damages can include parts of weak roofs being peeled back, like this one in Ringgold, Georgia. EF1 tornadoes may not sound that deadly on a scale up to 5, but these too can cause deaths, especially for certain areas. Those areas would be mobile homes. It doesn't take much to flip a mobile home or send a smaller tree through one, especially when winds are 86 to 110 miles per hour. Things really start to get serious when we reach the EF2 level. Nothing is immune at this point. This can include cars being tossed like toys or a whole side of a house being decoupled from these 111 to 135 mile per hour winds. EF3's winds are usually between 136 and 165 miles per hour, meaning the damage can be jaw-dropping. Like this photo. This used to be a warehouse in Raleigh, North Carolina, so clearly well-constructed houses could be destroyed with an EF3. We go from destroying single homes to leveling entire neighborhoods with EF4 twisters. 166 to 200 mile an hour winds did this in St. Louis, Missouri. At this point, cars and other debris are not just being tossed around, they are being rocketed like rounds of bullets. Finally, there's the most rare but also the most devastating tornadoes, EF5. Tall buildings can collapse and even entire towns can be brought to their knees, like this one in Moore, Oklahoma. Wind speeds were recorded at over 200 miles per hour. After seeing some pictures of what tornadoes can do, it's a good thing we have a watch and warning system set up across the U.S. Skywarn 7 meteorologist Matt DePiro explains that further.
At any given time, you may see a watch or warning issued for parts of Texoma. These watches and warnings are relayed to you from this computer back here. It is important to understand the difference between a watch and a warning. This knowledge will better prepare you for when hazardous weather strikes. A watch indicates the potential for hazardous weather. If you are near or in a watch area, you should have a plan in place in case a storm threatens. Turn on your weather radio and monitor KSWO on your television or online. When a warning is issued, you need to take immediate action. This means hazardous weather is occurring or will be occurring very shortly at your location. Take action now to protect lives and property. The two most common types of warnings you will see are severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings. A severe thunderstorm warning is issued when radar or storm spotters indicates hail greater than 1 inch in diameter and or winds in excess of 58 miles per hour. In similar fashion, a tornado warning is issued when Doppler radar detects a potential tornado and or storm spotters have confirmed the presence of a tornado. Thunderstorms that produce tornadoes can also produce large hail and damaging winds. Take these warnings seriously. They indicate the strong possibility of life-threatening weather. Seek appropriate shelter and it may save your life.
Welcome back to the 5th season Severe Weather Show from Skywarn 7 Weather.
Lightning is one of the most majestic things about thunderstorms. But have you ever wondered how those bolts of lightning are created? Lightning forms in a thunderstorm cloud when positive and negative charged particles meet and form the charge. Here are some lightning safety tips. When thunder roars, go indoors. Vehicles are a safe location, but make sure you roll up your windows and avoid touching any metal objects. When outdoors, umbrellas and golf clubs are dangerous as metal objects attract lightning. Water also attracts, so avoid being around any water when you see lightning. When outdoors, also stay away from tall objects such as trees. The safest place to be is inside and away from windows. Another danger within a thunderstorm is hail, which is nothing more than frozen droplets of water. But how do they grow so large when temperatures are above 90 degrees outside?
Droplets of water inside a thunderstorm can be thrown well up, high up into the thunderstorm that can be several miles high, well below freezing. So those droplets of water actually freeze, and that is what forms hail. Now, as that hail falls down towards the ground, this hail gets thrown back up into the thunderstorm. Once again, it'll be in rain that could refreeze, and instead of it being quarter size, it could actually be a little bit larger, and sometimes the size of golf balls. So as that hail's picked up high into the thunderstorm again, it's coated with rain or water droplets, refreezes, and then falls back down even larger. Yeah, sometimes it's the size of softballs.
So once you hear the rumble of thunder or see hail falling, make sure you head indoors and stay away from the windows. Now what if there's a tornado warning for your location or a tornado heading down your street? Here is Skywarn 7 meteorologist Matt DePiero to show you how you can keep you and your family safe.
Mother Nature has no schedule, so when a tornado warning is issued, you may be in one of many different locations. In this segment, I'll cover tornado safety in your home, vehicle, or if you are caught in the open outdoors. When a tornado warning is issued for your county, the most common place you're going to be located is right here in your very own home. If you're inside of your apartment and a tornado warning is issued and you have no basement or storm shelter to go to, one of the first available options is going to be your closet in your bedroom, for example. Make sure you find an interior room, stay away from the windows as much as possible, head inside the closet, and kneel down just like you would in the ditch with your hands over your head, and maybe even close the door or put some clothes on top of you for some added protection. Another option for shelter inside of your apartment is your shower or your bathtub. Definitely the least glamorous of all the options, but it can provide you with some good, safe, sturdy structure around you to protect you from winds and debris as the tornado moves through. You want to do the same thing you would do in a closet or a ditch. You want to get down as low as possible and cover your head with your hands to protect yourself from debris or falling structure. If you're in your vehicle when a tornado is approaching, you don't want to try and outrun the tornado in your car. You want to head outside your vehicle and find a safe building like this steel structure, head inside and stay away from the windows. A common misconception is that it's safe to take shelter from a tornado under an overpass. In fact, this is not safe at all, as winds can often be accelerated underneath the overpass and it may carry debris, or you may even be sucked out of the overpass if the winds are strong enough. But what if you cannot escape the tornado in your vehicle and there are no safe structures around? It will be a difficult decision, but you may need to take shelter in a ditch. Stay away from parked vehicles, large objects, or power lines. Lie face down and cover your head with your hands. Some of us are lucky enough to have storm shelters. With more information on how they are built and how they keep you safe, here's meteorologist Joe Belanger.
There's a decent chance any of our viewers could be directly affected by a tornado this spring, or even worse, killed. There's many places you could be at the time of a tornado strike. There's the ugly, stranded outdoors, the bad, in your car. Then there's the good, which would be in the center and bottom level of a building structure. And the absolute best scenario, a storm shelter. So I thought, who better to talk to than an expert who specializes in making them.
This is Randy McNeil, the manager at Lawton Septic and Storm Shelter. He told me that their most popular shelter is the concrete and steel units that go in the ground. They are about 6 by 8 feet and can hold at least 8 adults. Now, of course, the cost is a big concern. He said they range from
$2,850 installed price to about 10 grand. 10 grand is going to be the higher end, which will be safe rooms.
What exactly is a safe room? It's an above ground steel room that can be custom made to fit your closet or under your stairs and is great for the elderly.
Then I thought it'd be cool to meet a viewer who actually has a storm shelter and see what their views are on it.
Don Hoon chose to install a storm shelter in his garage floor when his house was built. Fortunately, he hasn't had to use it, but says knowing shelter is only seconds away has brought him and his family a peace of mind.
Here, all I gotta do is come out of my house and jump in it, and I'm safe.
And that type of security, worth every penny.
Welcome back to the 5th season Severe Weather Show from Skywarn 7 Weather.
Outdoor warning sirens are spread throughout town.
They're to warn you of severe weather during outdoor activities, such as sporting events. But they're not to alert you when you're indoors. Thankfully, we don't hear them that often, but when we do, we know danger is approaching. Clint Wagstaff is the Emergency Management Director for Comanche County, and one of his responsibilities is to know when to sound the sirens. The criteria?
65 mile-an-hour winds or a funnel or tornado moving into the city of Lawton. We will sound the sirens at that time. If the threat is still in the area, we will recycle the sirens as long as needed until the threat leaves the area.
So if you're inside cooking, watching a movie, sleeping, or while in the shower, they are not intended to warn you of severe weather. Now, if you're outside playing on the playground, or walking the dog, or at a sporting event outdoors, then you should listen for the sirens and take immediate action.
They're designed to be heard outdoor to alert people to go inside, to turn on local TV stations, see what actually is happening in the weather.
Another great way to receive up-to-the-minute severe weather updates, even when you're asleep or without power, is a NOAA weather radio. Here is Sky 17 meteorologist Austin Bowling to explain.
While the area's storm sirens are loud enough to be heard inside of many homes, they were intended as an outdoor warning system, never as your first line of defense. What if you lived in a more rural area? What if the storm struck at night? What if the power were knocked out?
This exact situation played out last spring in Woodward, Oklahoma, as storms earlier in the day disabled some of the town's sirens, leaving residents only a few minutes to seek shelter from an overnight tornado. That's why local emergency managers stress residents have additional warning systems, such as a weather radio or mobile apps, to receive crucial storm information.
Battery-powered weather radios like this one can be programmed to sound just for your specific county as a severe thunderstorm or tornado warning is issued. Its alarm will be loud enough to wake you from a deep sleep. On average, this costs about $30 and can be found in a few stores around the area. For those of you with smartphones, the newest free app this spring, the Red Cross Tornado app, gives warnings based on your exact location using your phone's GPS device. Along with up-to-date weather information, it also includes a flashlight, an audible alarm, and a button to let your family know you're safe using social media. Other avenues like Notify through the Weather Channel and Weather Call are available for purchase. For the 5th season, I'm meteorologist Austin Bowling.
Welcome back to the 5th season Severe Weather Show from Skywarn 7 Weather.
My photographer Matt and I had a lot of stops to make trying to track down the best of the best in regards to the upcoming storm season. Now, when you think of Oklahoma University, probably one of the first things that comes to mind is its awesome football program, but it's also really known for its meteorology program. So I got in contact with a professor up there, Dr. Howie Bluestein, who specializes in severe weather.
His love for studying storms and chasing them has spanned for over 35 years. Currently, he's working on giving a forecast more confidence by deciding which storms have the best shot of producing a tornado.
So if we say that we think there's a pretty good chance that this storm is going to produce a tornado, but that storm, for these reasons, isn't, that will really decrease the false alarm rate.
And help us focus on the potential tornadic storm. Now, to see how they do this, I had to venture down to meet with another prestige meteorologist, Dr. Michael Biggerstaff, who is really hands-on when it comes to radar and tracking storms. These Doppler radars that he works with are mobile and have been all over the world. They are able to see small-scale details such as within a thunderstorm, which is why they are especially valuable for us here in the Southern Plains. Dr. Biggerstaff and his team have been collecting data the past several years and are making progress.
And one of the things we found is that there's a period in which the low-level rotation, which is often associated with a wall cloud, enters into an updraft region that causes the rotation to spin up very, very fast. Now that doesn't produce a tornado per se, but it produces an environment in which a tornado can form.
This in turn will not only help us better predict which storms will produce a tornado, but also lead to
longer prediction times, better warnings for the public.
Finally, before heading back to the station, Jan Stratton here at 7 News recommended checking with the Oklahoma Museum of Science to see if they still had a tornado simulator, and they did. It was pretty neat.
Our tour guide, Jessica Carter, was kind enough to demonstrate the simulator for us. It can create winds close to 80 miles per hour, which can obviously do a number on your hair.
And while tornadoes can really throw you for a loop, flooding is the #1 killer when it comes to severe weather. Austin is going to talk to you more about that.
It's hard to even discuss the threat of flooding when the region is in the thick of an extreme drought. But even as recently as late September, we saw the waters rise quickly across the city of Lawton, forming lakes where roads, yards, and parking lots once stood. Once these Texoma skies decide to open up, the threat of fast-moving water won't be far behind.
There are two types of flooding we watch for: river flooding and flash flooding. River flooding occurs when heavy rain runs off and fills our streams and rivers too quickly. This typically happens over a couple of days. Flash flooding, however, takes place when heavy rain falls over a much smaller area in a short period of time, causing waters to rise suddenly, more so in urban areas. In both cases, one should remain alert as the rain continues to fall and those low-lying, flood-prone areas begin to fill up.
Flooding is the #1 storm-related killer in the United States, primarily due to those trying to cross or drive through high water. Never attempt to drive your vehicle through a flooded roadway, especially if you cannot judge the exact depth. It only takes 6 inches of fast-moving water to sweep you off your feet. It takes 2 feet of water to float your vehicle. And by that point, it's too late.
So what should you do if you find yourself in high water? I spoke with Jared Williams of the Lawton Fire Department, who shares some helpful tips with drivers.
The biggest thing is if you get into a water, the first thing is call 911 immediately. So make sure all that your windows are rolled up. Until that vehicle is submerged with water, it's going to be important that we can keep the water out as long as possible. That's going to be a good thing. If you ever do encounter the fact that you're going to be going underwater, get one of your windows open because you're going to have the water equalize at some point. We suggest our drivers get in the back seat. That way that the vehicles most of the time are going to go nose down first wherever that motor is. So that last little bit of air is going to be in the back seat.
Not only are you putting your own life in danger driving into high waters, you're endangering the rescuers as well.
When we start thinking swiftwater, in Lawton, we can have a 30-minute rain, give us about a ½ inch of water, and that's going to be enough to put up to 10 feet in our storm water. And the way the water is designed to move, that water can move up to 27 miles an hour. And so anytime we have to put firefighters in moving water, there's a hazard and there's danger.
Before we can even discuss flooding, we first need the rain to fall here across the region. Luckily for 2013, we're just a little over an inch with our deficit, but when you add that up through January of 2011, we are seeing rainfall deficits upwards of 35 inches. So how are we looking for the upcoming spring? Well, the Climate Prediction Center for April, May, and June has decided that we are going to see a much drier stretch, well below the nearly 12 inches we can expect during those 3 months. For the 5th season, I'm meteorologist Austin Bowling. Tonight, we illustrated the ways to be prepared for when severe weather strikes, from storm sirens to weather radios.
We showed you where to seek shelter when a tornado approaches our area, such as a bathroom or a storm shelter.
We also explained the difference between a watch and a warning, just like the ones you can get here on your weather radio.
Plus, we have demonstrated new technology, ways of assessing tornado damage, and why Texoma is so prone to seeing severe weather. We hope you've enjoyed this year's 5th season special, and always tune in to 7 News for the most up-to-date severe weather coverage. From all of us from the Skywarn 7 Weather Team, thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching the 5th season Severe Weather Show. Make sure you keep up to date on severe weather with the Skywarn 7 Weather Team. You can count on us. The fifth season has been brought to you by Great Plains Equipment.